Good morning, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. Today we are doing our DHS Technical Assistance webinar, and we've got an agenda to follow. Not much, really, today, but we do have all of our, two of our guest speakers today from the CBOs across the state, and we'll, if you could, please check in with your region from where you are. And if you have any questions about anything, please mark the boxes in the areas of conversation. I have a document. It's called ITCL Suitability Checklist. So if you are in the Chicago market, that is the handout that one of our guest speakers uploaded to the file pod for her presentation today. Otherwise, the only other document that we need to review is the conciliation process for DHS, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I just want to make sure that you guys have those documents. Remember that if you download something, it takes you to another screen, so you have to make sure that you come back to the webinar. And so let's get rolling with our webinar. It looks like a lot of people are already on the call, so I was kind of killing a little bit of time just to get some more people into the call. All right, so what we're going to start out with is, of course, the dashboard. And as we look at the dashboard, we always need to make sure that we are keeping track of the yellow areas. Those are the ones that all of us in Springfield and Elgin are most concerned about, because those are the people that have the potential of falling through the cracks. Now, we noticed here that we've got a big number for missed orientation. And until the point where we were able to start doing the conciliations and sanctions, some of these people will probably have to be started over, because you can't do your conciliation and sanctions unless the paperwork is current. And so if you've got some people in that list, I would appreciate it if you could start through the process. Now, if you're in a voluntary area, that is going to be a little bit different, because you can keep inviting them, but they may not show up because there are no repercussions for them. As we are working through the process, we are trying to update our intake activities page on a person's profile so that we can have some additional answers for all of our people. So now what I want to do is talk about the application not started. We're good. Yay! We've got 4 people in an incomplete application older than 24 hours. Now, in some cases, that may be that somebody started the application and just didn't finish it. So if you've got somebody that is in that situation, you might want to follow up with them, because they potentially are what we call low-hanging fruit to get them into the program. So please check that dashboard. I don't want to click on that number because it would bring up live information we are recording. And then we've got ready for review by DHS caseworker. That's 3 people. That's like nobody in there, but we do need to make sure that we take care of that. And then we've got a couple people in needs to be scheduled for consent or missed the consent meeting. If they missed the consent meeting, are they in a mandatory area? Is that something that we need to look at? Our most important number, though, is not assigned to CBO, so we need to make sure that we're looking at those people to try to get them scheduled for the CBO. If it was an issue where the EPIC and EPIS did not sync, then you may need to go back and call that customer back to get them scheduled for an intake orientation with a CBO. Now, on the enrolled dashboard, we had a conversation with our CBOs about this on Wednesday. They need to make sure that they are doing their 2151As. So we need to be checking on these items. So right here we've got referral pending, appointment has not been scheduled. We need to make sure that those numbers match. So I'll look into that with our programmers in Springfield to see what the difference is, because we have 2 on the intake board and 7 here. So we need to double check to make sure that something's not gone haywire, and we really should have 7 on the other list. One of the things that you guys need to check on a regular basis is the referral pending contact from customer. There's 101 people in this list, and 101 people that do not show up for their first CBO intake orientation need to be handled by DHS. And we're going to talk about this conciliation process right now. That's the next agenda item. Oh my gosh, I've been talking about all of this and my screen has been mini. Can you tell it's Friday and I'm ready for the weekend? So we have 101 people. We have 101 people in the referral pending, no contact from customers. So please check into that list and see if they are your customers, because if they are your customers, there's a potential that these people need to be called in with a 2846G, and if they don't show up, they can potentially be sanctioned. And what we also need to do is we in Springfield need to stay on top of the CBOs, making sure that they're submitting their documentation. And we are working on that. Olivia does desk reviews on a regular basis. And then as we're looking at the situation, worse, no progress, minimal progress, we need to make sure that we're checking on those, because those are 2151As where there may need to be some assistance from you in DHS to help them through their conciliation process so that they can get those customers back into the fold of the CBO training. Our goal is to make sure that these customers get through the program, and if the CBOs need some assistance from you, we would like to be able to count on you for your support. One of the other things that I noticed is that the Winnebago team in Rockford are starting to do staffings with their customers and the CBO. Now, we know that the Cook County region is the only one that is mandatory for staffings, but if you are in another area and you have mandatory participants, you may want to consider doing your monthly staffings with your CBO, just to make sure that everything is going properly with your customers. All right, let's take a look at the intake projections, because you can't see the other areas. You can only see your region when you're looking. So as we're looking here, we've got Chicago is on the rise again after the decentralization. For group assignment, they had 574 in September, and we had 743 assignments in October, so that's really good. We're getting there. We're getting to our goals. We need to keep bumping it up, though. Region 2, look at Region 2. They're just shy of being on track. So we have 155 for October. We have 126 for September. So whoop, whoop to Winnebago. That's great. Great, great, great. Region 3, you're coming up. You're coming up. You've got 39 people for October, and you had 25 in September. So you're moving along as well. Region 4 is coming up. It's going to be a big competition between Region 3 and Region 4. Their numbers are very, very, very close together. So we've got some good going there, Region 3 and Region 4. And then last but not least, oh my goodness, look at Region 5. They are rocking it. Look at that, 292. They're way over their target projections. You're carrying the state, Region 5. Well, I don't know about that, but you're doing really, really, really good. So 292 in October, 248 in September. That's phenomenal. You keep up that great work, Region 5. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's minimize just for a moment here so that I can see what's next. Okay, so we have the conciliation process next. Now this document is in Word. I'm going to make sure that we upload the PDF version to the resources, the EPIC resources page. But for right now, we only have the view in Word. So I'm going to try and make this bigger. All right. So what we have here, and this is, you guys from DHS know how to do the conciliation. That's not the important part here. The important part here is what you need to do on EPIC once you do the conciliation process. So we know that you're going to send the customer a 2846G. We know that if they come up to their appointment, they get a 3392. And then we know that we need to request a sanction with a 2151A so that if the customer doesn't show up. But what we do need to do is if the participant, and I'm going to highlight this on my screen here, if the participant agrees to comply, we need you guys to upload that 3392 to the customer's progress page so that the CBO knows what terms the customer agreed to. And then you need to reschedule an intake appointment with the CBO. So from the progress page on a customer, you can do all of this. And I'll show you this in just a moment from a test site. If the participant does not comply during the conciliation period, then you as DHS need to go into the customer's profile on EPIC and update the eligibility status as no longer SNAP eligible. And then they can begin the sanction process. But the CBO needs to know that that customer is either eligible or not eligible because maybe they happen to show up unannounced at the CBO. We don't want the CBO providing services if the customer is not SNAP eligible. And then we need to see that if the customer is determined to be exempt, then we need to update that on the customer's eligibility status on the progress page as well. And if it's a temporary exemption, say they fell, broke their leg, had to have surgery, and have to be on intensive physical therapy for a while, and they're not going to be able to do anything but the physical therapy, that would be a temporary exemption. We'll need a case note to reflect that as well. So on a customer's progress page, let me get to a progress page. So I'm in test. So here what you would do is if the customer has that 3392 and they have agreed to some terms, you would upload other documents. You would click on here, you would upload that 3392 so that it says, and when you upload it, make a note on the upload portion. So if you're uploading the document, it's going to give you the ability to choose a file, and then you're going to enter the description here. That's just so that we know what those documents are. When you upload the document here, it makes an automatic case note so that the CBO staff will know what's going on. Then if they become ineligible, you're going to click on the box here, and it's going to be ineligible or SNAP eligible and exempt not receiving TANF. So if they're exempt for a short period of time, you're going to have to add that extra case note. All right. We have also been playing with some of the other items in the dashboard. So for example, on the intake activities, we're in test phase right now, so hopefully by next Friday, we will be able to show you all of the changes. Just to let you know, we have expanded the options. Well, I'll show you real quick here. We have expanded the options on the intake activities, but the other thing that we've done is we've locked down the intake activities once an assignment has been made. The other thing that we're doing or working on in process is the eligibility review. If all of the aspects of the eligibility review have not been completed, so you haven't checked a box here and you haven't completed this portion, you will not be able to click on the assignment tab to pull the information in from EPIS. So please make sure that you follow these steps so that you get all of these boxes checked and then do the assignment. All right, I'm going to minimize my screen here for just a moment to check the agenda. Okay, and then the other thing that we really, really, really need to be able to verify, check, and verify is the Social Security numbers. We continue to have issues where we need to either call EPIC and have the programmers change those Social Security numbers, or we're having to contact EPIS and verify and or change the Social Security numbers. Most of the time, if the Social Security number is wrong in EPIC, it is because of keying errors, data entry errors during the invitation. So please, please, please double check and verify before you move forward with the invitation. Look at it, read it back to yourself if you need to, ask somebody to step in and verify. But the wrong Social Security number can create an extra person, or the wrong Social Security number will cause us not to be able to sync with EPIS. So that means that we cannot pull in the assignment from EPIS to EPIC. And then, last but not least, we need to remind everyone that when you are talking to your customers and you are telling them about the training program, they do not walk in day one and start training. They have to have some assessments done. They have to have some procedures and processes done by the CBO. So they will start being engaged right away, but they will not start training on day one. Please, please, please remind your customers that they may or may not get right into training. Our goal is to get them in as soon as possible, but they may have to do some ESL, or they may have to do some adult basic education. So there may be some components that they have to do before they actually get to start their training. All right, that is all of the items on my agenda. Let's see. Somebody had a question about the intake dashboard. So did I answer a question or cover an item? If not, type your question in, and it looks like there's only one question about the orientation tools. So if you want to type your question in about that. And if anybody else has a question, please feel free to type those in as well. I want to get to our guest speakers as soon as possible. All right, I see people typing. So I'm still having issues during the invitation process where I have to exit out and start over frequently. Okay, Marquise, I'm going to, let's get this after the webinar, and is that Winnebago County? Oh, so several people are. Oh, goodness. Okay, I will, So I know that when I was in Peoria, oh my gosh, okay, so when I was in one of the offices, if you tried to go back right away and do the invitation, let me get into test, and let me go to customers, and DHS invite, add a DHS customer, and I'm going to do, all right, let's try this. Cal Park, don't have this, don't have this. We'll give her this. I'm just going to try this right now. I know that it's different in a test environment than if we're sorry. Oh, I'm moving. Sorry, I'm going to make my screen bigger. All right, so then we pick a date. An invite. Okay, so now you don't have any problems when you do it on the laptops. Using Chrome doesn't make a difference. Okay, so now now do you close this here, folks that are having a problem? And then if you go straight back to add a customer, oops. And then we're doing and all right, and then we're going to pick all right, so I'm not able to replicate it right now, but I think I remember this happening again. So I'm going to save all of these messages and get that to happen. I'm going to try and play with it a little bit more and talk to the programmers. Okay, so okay, I will see what I can get this to happen. I know that this happened before, so we'll play with that a little bit more. All right, and then let's see, do we have any, I know all of that typing was going on, so I don't know if the, all right, let's see. Okay, so Chrome helps. It does not, what's the, okay. I think this was not in here. What's the proper way of rescheduling a customer? So that is, Okay, I'm reading all these notes. Sorry for the stopping and starting here. What's the proper way of rescheduling a customer? Okay, let me make my screen bigger again. I got it this time instead. So if you go to a customer and they need to be rescheduled, so I'm going to go to Morticia Adams, and she needs to be rescheduled. If you're only doing one person, you can come in here and change the date in the box here. So you can add them to the orientation here, and it will give you the session. And then you can change them here so that you're changing the date, the session. They have not attended orientation. They can be reinvited. So if you're only doing one person, this is the best way to do it. And then come down and save. If you are doing a number of people and you want to see them, so you can go to the dashboard, go to missed orientation, click on this number, filter by office. Now some of the people in the region have access to more than one office, so you would want to, if you're one of those kind of people, you need to filter your list. The other thing that you can do is, so I want to invite these 5 people, you can re-invite all of them, and you can do this by one fell swoop for the 5 customers. So you have 2 options to reschedule somebody. So Edith, did that answer your question? Let's see. Okay, great. Marianne says, I'm unable to add and invite the first-time frequent. Oh, and get a message that a person. Okay, so Marianne, if that happens, if you've entered the information and it freezes on you, one of the things that could be happening is it took the person, but you just didn't get it to go. So what you need to do is you need to go to your DHS invite screen and check this list to see if the person is actually in here before you try to re-enter all the information. And then you can just invite them from this box and do the date here. Okay, does that help? Does that answer your question, Marianne? Okay. All right, and I see Libby typing. I'm going to copy all of these notes out of this chat pod and share them with our programmer about the other option. And we may call one or another of you later this afternoon to see what we can try to replicate. All right, I want to try to move on to our guest speakers. So I'm going to okay, I'm going to save all of these answers. Let's go to open up Eric Rebner's phone. And Eric is from Springfield. So if you're from the southern part of the state, please stay through Eric's presentation. And Eric, I'm not seeing your phone number. Can you type the last 4 digits of your phone number into the chat pod just so that I can 0264. Okay. Eric, are you with me?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, yay. Okay.
Okay,
so,
good.
Eric Rebner, tell us about your CBO and your programs.
Well, thank you. My name is Eric Krebner. I'm Executive Director of Homework Hangout Club in Decatur, Illinois. So we're over in Region 4. We have the interesting location insofar that our DHS office is less than a half block from us. I was just standing outside a moment ago, and it's right across the parking lot from us. So we have actually been able to work really well with our region in implementing this EPIC grant. So we can just almost literally walk next door and talk to them and get a feel for things. They come over here at times as well, and it's been really successful as far as from a collaboration point of view. We have been an organization since 1991. Well, basically our mission is to provide these youth, young adults, low-income families, and adults with training, opportunity, leadership, discipline, kind of to form a educational and community partnership through coordination of different programs. Primarily, in the past, we started out doing a lot of youth-based programs, after-school programming, summer employment programs. We've kind of evolved over about 25 years here, and in the last 4 or 5 years, really, we've started including a lot more employment training programs. Part of this was due to our us being able to collaborate with the U.S. Department of Labor to do both youth build programs and pre-apprenticeship training programs, which we still have here at the center. And that has what we've done is form partnerships with the local trade unions, the painters, the plumbers, the carpenters, electricians to come in and do pre-apprenticeship training on site that we also match up with academic training programs we have here, GED programs. Our goal is with those programs is to get people through our pre-apprenticeship training that they can then go on and enter the building trades as an apprentice, as a registered apprentice with the Department of Labor. With EPIC, we've coordinated those programs with the EPIC program so that people that come into our CBO through EPIC, they can be assigned to that American Apprenticeship Program, or if they're in need of GED or additional academic training and pre-employment services, we will start with them there. We have had students come in that are doing both at this point. We have a pre-employment training curriculum, a life skills training curriculum that we do with participants, GED if they need it, academic skill training because we have some people come in, they have a high school diploma, but they're only testing, 5th, 6th grade level. A lot of the trades are looking for at least a high school level proficiency. Electricians specifically are even looking for 11th and 12th grade math skills. So they are receiving the training in those classes, receiving academic classes to get those skills from which we can then successfully place them into that pre-apprenticeship training and then on to the apprenticeship for that. So it's been a really rewarding process here. We've been able to get work with DHS on the reverse referral process, I think, really well to start bringing some participants in. We've been very fortunate to have a really good group of participants come over through EPIC. Many of them are fairly high achieving. Some of them are high achieving that require the GED. So we've been starting GED instruction with them. A couple of our webinars I've kind of asked about community service because we've also built in a pretty strong community service component to this program as well, so that participants are not only getting employment skills and pre-apprenticeship training and academic skills, but they're also learning to kind of give back to the community and become a part of that. So we've done, I think we're doing really well with this program, and it's growing. And of course, it's been a slow process getting participants in, but we're starting to roll along now, and we're really excited about it. We're really happy with the outcomes that we've achieved here.
Great. How long is most of your programs?
The pre-apprenticeship training program is 22 weeks. Now, if they come in needing a GED, they would complete that first, and that's anywhere from a 8 to 16-week program of academics, just strictly focused on GED, before they would then go on into the pre-apprenticeship training.
Great. And you're going to send me a brochure about your program so that we can upload that to the restricted resources page, right?
Yes, I am. I have a couple of staff working on it. We've had so many changes over the past few years that we realized, okay, we need to get that piece, redone again. So I have a couple of staff working on it. We should hopefully have something here in the next week or so that I can send to you.
Great. Now, and I did notice, unless I'm missing it, do you not have a website?
We have a Facebook page. I've never been able to keep somebody on staff that can keep a regular website up. So we just utilize our Facebook page for the moment. One of the things we're going to be doing over the next year is building kind of a website specifically for this program. But for now, you can do facebook.com/Homework Hangout Club. That will take you to our Facebook. I see it's up on the webinar screen, is that? But yeah, that will take you directly to our Facebook page.
All right. All right. And then do you share posts on here? Yeah.
We do. We use this a lot with marketing to get out word about our programs, getting people to sign up. But yes, we do share things to the Facebook page.
Great. Great. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Eric? So it looks like you're all of the construction trades, or which ones?
We are working with the building trades, the painters, the plumbers, the electricians, and the carpenters for our pre-apprenticeships. We're also kind of developing another program that would be kind of a core construction program or general maintenance program that would be a registered apprenticeship here at the center. So we're developing that at this point. But mainly what we're working on as far as employment training is the construction trades and that architecture and construction career cluster.
All right. I love, love, love your sign there, the Homework Hangout with all of the copper piping fitted together. That's amazing. Did your students make that?
Yes, they did. That was our first cohort of our pre-apprenticeship training program for the plumbers. They actually designed that and surprised us with it. They designed it. The painters designed the back and painted the back, and that actually now hangs up over our main office. That sign does.
That's really, really, really cool. I think they did a phenomenal job getting that made for you guys. So that's just a cool piece. I want one of those for my business. Maybe I'll have to call down there.
Yeah, you can contract Homework Hangout pre-apprenticeship programs. I'm sure we can probably put something together for you there.
And it would probably be cheaper than the plumbers that I normally use, so that's a great thing. All right.
Yeah.
So do we have any questions for Eric? I do need an epic one, Carmen. I do. All right.
I will take a note.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric, for joining us this morning. I appreciate your time, and if you want to just hang on, I'll leave you on the call in case anybody else types anything. But we are going to move on to Carmen. So if you are from one of the southern regions, Carmen is from Chicago. You're welcome to leave the call now if you would like. Otherwise, I'm going to find Carmen's phone number here. And let's see here. 4,200, I think, is what I saw when it came in. So let's unmute Carmen.
Hi, Dee.
Right. Hi, Carmen. How are you? This is Carmen Reed. She is now Mrs. Reed instead of Miss Meyer.
As of like a month ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull over a couple of screens. So this is, this is your website here.
Perfect.
And this is your flyer. So let's go to the website and let's have you chat a little bit about your programs.
Yeah, so it's actually me and Kelsey here today. Kelsey is our career navigator that is working with the EPIC program, so say hi, Kelsey.
Hi.
So we're both going to be kind of tag teaming this explanation of what we do. But basically, we have two programs that we offer here at National ABLE. One, they are both pre-existing programs, but one of them is currently on hold. So the one that's currently on hold is the Retail Career Lab. We are hoping to get that one back up and running, but we just, because it's currently not at capacity, we're not running it currently. So there's a lot of currentlys. But we are running the IT Career Lab, so that is the one that we are going to be talking about today. I think, Kelsey, do you want to tell us about the IT Career Lab first? And Dee, if you want to switch over to the brochure, we can kind of flip through the brochure too.
I can do that.
All right, so I'm going to start just by talking a little bit about what our actual training program is for people. And again, we are in the Chicago area. We're downtown on Lake Street. We're accessible by the trains, but what I want to let you know about is if you can actually go to the IT Career Lab brochure flyer, the other one.
It was in one of your tabs on your Chrome. Sorry, we sent you to the wrong place.
All right.
It's Friday.
So our IT Career Lab, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And if you go to the second page of that,
This
basically the inside. Yeah, and that if you could make that accessible to people, the second and third page explain the different kind of certifications that we offer through our IT Career Lab. And the certifications we offer are the MCSA, which basically helps people learn how to address computer user errors. So like if you and me are on our computers and something goes wrong with Microsoft and we're flipping out, we can't figure out why it's connecting, it helps people address those issues. The other ones we offer are the CCENT and the CCNA, which are on the next page. And the CCENT and CCNA, it's the first and second half of the CCNA certification. That certification helps people learn how to address basically connection issues. So when your router's not working or you can't connect to the internet, or if you're trying to set up an office with a lot of different people on one server, that's what that helps you with. We want to make it clear that when you're going through our IT training, it's not just like, oh, I can get this training, get my foot in the door, and start in IT. You have to know exactly what you want to be doing because the positions it helps you get to, you're going to be working probably as desktop support. You're going to be working as very entry level. And it's actually not an easy program. It's pretty difficult. I've gone through some of it, and I don't do well because I'm not very motivated to learn it. You have to be really motivated to learn this stuff because it's a brand new program. It's a brand new language, basically, for people who haven't been in IT before. The program itself is 16 weeks. It does go longer sometimes because if someone isn't advancing at the right pace, we will give them the opportunity to retake sections. So some people are in for 20 weeks because we want to make sure they're going to get all the information they need.
Keep in mind, too, that the 16 weeks to 20 weeks to however many weeks is just the classroom training.
Right.
Something we'll talk about more in a few minutes is different steps that we're requiring our EPIC clients to take before they even get into the classroom training.
Yeah. So they're in class for 18 hours a week. They are studying outside of class for at least 10, probably more. And usually we're having them once a day go and volunteer so they can build some IT experience. Because you need to have more than just theoretical knowledge in order to get started. You have to have hands-on experience getting in there too. So we help people with all of this, but the thing is they need to be really, really self-motivated to be going into this field. They have to have drive to keep going with it. If someone tells you that they want to do software development or they want to design video games or they want to do programming, this is not that program for them. This won't get them into that. We think it's nice.
We do. And I actually, you highlighted the $17.21 an hour. I did want to mention that $17.21 an hour is an average starting wage for IT Career Lab graduates. That, I will say, is a little bit skewed high because of the fact that a lot of people that come into IT Career Lab from different funding sources, such as WIOA, that sort of thing, they do already have IT experience. They're just looking to get the certification so that they can bump their salary up or, get their skills up to date, that sort of thing. So starting wage for people that are brand new to IT is going to be a little bit lower, and you want to make sure that people are aware of that. I'd say average for the people that are just starting out in IT is about $12 an hour, but there's a lot of room for growth in the field. So if someone is actually interested in committing to the field, then, the growth possibilities are pretty substantial.
Yeah, you definitely have to put in your time in order to earn the higher wages. It's also good to be aware of the fact that a lot of the jobs are going to be, 12 is much more realistic.
Yeah.
If they have no experience at all, some of them do start off at 10, but usually 12 is where they're going to be starting. A lot of the jobs will actually be in the suburbs because that's where a lot of them are placed out of. But we also, we do have a lot of opportunities for people when they're able to commit. The thing we just need to be really clear about is, and this is for desktop support, this is for entry level, if they don't have any experience, they are putting in a lot of work at the front end. And we will be going over how we help people prepare for that too. But just a thing to be aware of, our next training course doesn't start until January of 2017. So if someone says to you, oh yeah, I want to get in, I want to get a job, I want to get it fast and go, that's good, I'm glad they're motivated, but it's going to be a while before they hit that point with our program. With our program, we'll be having them do, clearly they're not just sitting around, they're doing other stuff ahead of time, but it takes a minute to really get you set up to succeed. Yeah, January.
Yeah, we're not starting one because of the holidays with people being out of town between now and then. We usually start once a month. So that's, the wait is typically not there, but we are kind of putting that out there now. But I guess it's a good time to talk about the suitability checklist and then talk about what we are having people do in the meantime.
So if
you want to pull that over. And this is in the download pod too. If you guys want to download this, it would be really helpful.
Your brochure is on the EPIC resource, the restricted resources page.
It is. There's another document there too that I didn't give you to upload, but that we can kind of go over too. But this suitability checklist is not there because this is technically for internal staff use only, as it says on the top, but we wanted to share it with you guys anyway. So basically, the things that you guys need to really look for, the most important things are these first two categories on this checklist. The last category is important, but it's not quite as important.
We can work
with different barriers, we have options. But the first category is just the basics. And this is, we've gotten a lot of referrals where they can't commit to the 16 weeks training, 2.5 days a week. It is really hard to have a job and go to IT Career Lab at the same time.
Most people who don't have extensive IT experience and who try to work while doing training do not succeed.
Yeah, it's because it is a lot of work. We do tell the clients, we can only require you to do 20 hours a week, but if you want to succeed, if you want to get the certifications, if you want to get, what we know you can get out of this, then you really have to commit. You really have to be fully motivated, 100% there, and want to succeed. Has the client attended an IT Career Lab info session? Yes, that will happen. Does the client have the ability to travel downtown Chicago for classes? So one little caveat with this is that we do tell clients at the outset that when we have transportation, we will give you transportation. However, I don't know if you guys have ever ordered cards from CCA before, from Ventura. Sometimes they take a week to come, sometimes they take a month to come. So there are occasional times when we don't have transportation to provide to our clients. So we just want to make sure that people do have alternate ways to get downtown, that they can do that, and that they are aware. So we don't ever promise transportation. We just, like I said, we provide it as much as we can. We just can't promise it. And then can the client be doing at least 10 hours of study time per week outside of class? Again, it's really hard to work when you're doing this program. You are going to need to be doing homework.
Mm-hmm.
then we have the basic computer competency. We have had a lot of people that have been referred to us for this program that when we ask them, what are you interested in, they're like, well, I like computers. IT is, yes, you're working with computers. Yes, that is what you're doing. But an interest in, a computer operation is very different from an interest in IT. And that's something to keep in mind. You do want to make sure that someone does know how to operate a computer. They need to have an email address that they know how to log into. They need to be familiar with searching the web. They need to be able to attach documents to their email correspondence. These are just ways that we can kind of tell whether or not someone has this basic computer competency. Because if they don't have the basic computer competency, they won't succeed. They won't be able to keep up in class. They won't be able to keep up before class, that sort of thing. Do they have a familiarity with Microsoft Office? A lot of help desk jobs do require that, people are using a ticketing system, people are keeping track of things in Microsoft Excel. So there's a lot of programs that we don't necessarily teach in this class that we just expect people to already have knowledge of. I mean, we do offer computer classes. We have a
basic operations class.
We have a basic operations class, as well as our training team does offer periodic Excel classes, things like that. So those are things that if someone does not have that knowledge, we can help them get. But just keep in mind that this will add to the length of time that someone is involved in this training.
I want to note, too, at our Pilsen office, where those basic computer operation courses are, those are actually open to any people in Cook County. So if anyone wants to reach out to us because they have customers or participants with low computer literacy, they can always, even if they're not in the EPIC program, can come to the Pilsen office for that assistance.
Olivia, that's a good question. We have had an issue with that. I think, Kelsey would answer that question. I mean, we do try our best to make sure that transportation is available. I think during this program, the most amount of time that we've had no transportation was about a week. Kelsey said longer than that. We do what we can to make sure that transportation is available. We don't promise it. So we want to make sure that they have alternate ways of getting there.
With the CTA cards, which is what most of the students are using for transportation, they have to be ordered with a certain amount. We can't order as much as we would like to because of how CTA works. So when they come in, we have four going to be 6 students in training right now, and the cards get distributed amongst them. So we run out very quickly, and we put in new orders, but we wait a long time for the processing with CTA. Nope, that's a good question, but we do that, and we wait for a long time.
Yeah, we ordered passes, just to give you an idea. We ordered passes at the 3rd week in September. They just came in on Tuesday.
Calumet Park, which website are you asking for?
The National ABLE. There is a link on the Partner Resources page to their main website, which is this one. And then also on the Restricted Resources page is a link to this brochure. And Carmen, do you want me to put this suitability checklist up on the Restricted Resources page? Only DHS staff can have access to that.
Sure, that would be great, actually. I think, we'll consider them internal as well. And we just posted the link for IT Career Lab's website as well, which has a ton of resources specifically for IT Career Lab.
Oh, I'll add that resource to the link or that link to the resource page as well.
Perfect. So, the other thing that we don't want to say that, you have to have all of these traits to succeed in our program, that you have to have experience, that sort of thing, because we recognize that that's kind of unrealistic, particularly with this population. So we've kind of put a few different sort of bridge programs in place for clients that are referred to this. So Kelsey, do you want to talk about the different bridge programs that we have?
Yeah. So one of the first things we do when we talk with clients is we assess their initial motivation, how much they really want to do what sort of training, where they want to go. If someone has a lot of IT experience, and when I say has a lot of IT experience, I mean they've actually worked a job in IT. A lot of people will tell you, oh yeah, I got tons of IT experience. I say, great, what have you done? And they're like, well, I update my mom's computer. That's great, and I'm glad, but that's not what we're looking for. So if they actually have like done jobs and gotten paid for doing IT work, then we can put them kind of on a fast track to go directly into training. However, most of the time, people who have an interest will be like, oh, you know, I update my mom's computer. Well, I really spend a lot of time gaming. Again, good stuff, but it's not really something we can market to an employer. So those folks will start with what we have as IT Essentials, which is a part of the Cisco Academy. And Cisco is the organization that issues the CCNA and the CCENT. If you guys look at your router or maybe even at your phone, it probably says Cisco on there somewhere if you have an office phone. Cisco runs the IT Essentials program. It's an online program that Epic participants get some exclusive access to through us. And what that does is it introduces people to the language and to the concepts that they're going to be hearing about in IT Career Lab. So it's kind of like it's an online course that introduces them to the information they're going to be needing to get in the long run. We try to have as many people as possible go through it anyway through the EPIC program just because it does really help people understand where they're coming from and understand how they're going to have to succeed later on. One of the other paths we offer is if someone doesn't test high enough on the TABE. So the TABE is the test of adult basic education. In order to get into IT Career Lab, they need to score an 8.0 in math and an 8.0 in reading. The reason for that is that's just if you don't score there, you're not going to have the comprehension to succeed in the class. So we have a great ABE instructor here at our Pilsen location, and customers can go through ABE and raise their TABE scores until they do hit the 8.0. Those classes happen 3 times a week at our Pilsen location. Then after they do that, then they would go into the IT Essentials class, so we could make sure they had the comprehension with the technical language, and then they would go into IT Essentials. The last path would be for people who are interested in IT, but maybe they decide the training isn't for them and what they want. We still do want to stick with those IT-focused customers, but job search assistance only is an option for them as well.
And one thing that we are putting in place that is currently not 100% in place because I think the curriculum is still being worked on is for those clients that want to do job search assistance only, we are putting them all through the Career Foundations curriculum, which was designed by Women Employed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically a intense job readiness curriculum with focus on identifying a career or field of interest. You know, another thing that we have as an option because we are a WIOA provider is co-enrolling people with WIOA if we need to. So we do have a lot of options for job search assistance only clients. We just want to make sure that the referrals that we're getting are people that are interested in the program.
Yeah. The main thing we really have to avoid is people who go, well, I heard you get a lot of money in IT, I want to work in IT. Or I saw those commercials for, remember ITT Tech, which is not really a school anymore? A lot of people saw those commercials and got misled about how you can get into the IT field. We want to make sure that we're not accidentally setting people up for failure by giving them this impression that they can get through this program really quick, get a job, go to work, and be making, you know, $40,000, $50,000 a year, when it's really going to be a lot of work on the front end to get them into there.
Yeah, and one thing, I mean, another piece too, and I know this is something that we talk about on a lot of the CBO calls, is the work experience piece. We call it paid work experience. We do it with a couple of other programs that we have. One thing to keep in mind about the work experience, because, you know, we have talked about if we increase the wage for paid work experience, et cetera, will more people be motivated? We want to make sure that people know that they have to obtain their certifications before they can start any sort of paid work experience. I mean, IT is a very technical field, it's a field where we have a lot of employer partners. We have actually on staff currently 2, soon to be 3 job developers. We have on staff now 3 job developers that are focused specifically on finding jobs in the IT field. So we do have a lot of employer partnerships that are looking for these, these interns, essentially, these paid work experience people, but they want to make sure that they have a certain level of competency before they bring them on. So we always want to make sure that people know that they are going to still, even though paid work experience is an option, we have to put them through the program first. They have to succeed within the program first. And that's just something that, it's a really great field to get into. We just want to make sure that people are willing to go through the steps to get through.
And I want to say, too, if you guys, I don't know how many people are out there doing the referring, but if anyone does have questions about it, if you have concerns, you can always reach out to us and ask direct questions. I think Carmen's putting our contact info in here. If you want to directly reach out to us, we're totally willing to answer questions, help with that, give feedback, give advice. If we don't know, we'll look into it, and we can let you know whatever you need. Deborah asked, when a customer is faced with a transportation issue, how does this impact their studies? No, they have to attend. That's just it. They have to continue attending. That's why we need to work so hard to make sure that people are able to get into class.
Caveat Park, yes, that is actually something that we're working with right now because we have, this referring to other CBOs is actually a new process that we're working on right now. But we are trying to make sure that the people we get are in the program that they're supposed to be in. And I think sometimes we have, just based on the time and capacity issue, I think we have more time to talk to them and figure out, actually assess what it is that they want to do. So yeah, we would then refer them to another CBO. I think the only time that they'd be returned to the pool for placement, for replacement, would be if we weren't able to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
And we have had a couple of customers where that is the case. But once they're referred to us, we'll do our best to make sure that if we can't help them, we'll send them to someone who is a good fit to help them.
Yeah, there's no just letting people hang out forever and not know what's going on. But all the CBOs actually, at least all the CBOs in this area, are trying really hard to work together right now to make sure that customers are being referred to the program that they want to be in the field that's going to be able to help them the most.
Do you do basic Microsoft Office training or administrative assistant training kind of thing, or is it
not
all
administrative
the higher level IT?
No, not administrative assistants. What is available is out of our Pilsen location, which is 1700 West 18th Street, there is a basic computer literacy course offered. That's for people who are on unemployment or on food stamps or whatever. Really, anyone who wants to walk in can come in and take it. But that is a course that basically teaches you this is what Microsoft Office is, this is how you use it, this is what an email address is, this is how you use it. That is a program we have access to, but it is not something that an EPIC customer would want to be referred to us specifically for, because that's something they can partake in no matter what.
And something to keep in mind, just to kind of, without getting too much in a rabbit hole here, Dee, the Microsoft Office certifications changed about 2 years ago, I think it was, where it used to be relatively easy and you could take one test to get certified in Microsoft Office. That has changed. It's now broken down into every program that Microsoft Office makes has its own certification, and in order to get the Microsoft Office certification, you have to get certified in all of the programs. So it's actually, it's something we have, so I just want to say it's something we have looked into offering, but because it is such a challenge to get and it takes an extensive amount of time to get that certification, it just makes more sense to kind of offer the basic. And then, as I said, I think before, our training team team does also offer occasional Excel and Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word courses. So if that's something that someone wants, it is something that we would be able to get them access to, but it's not something that someone should be referred to us just to get, if that makes sense.
All right. Sounds great. Well, we
Yeah.
are over time, and I really appreciate your sharing us about your program. I think that'll help our DHS workers in Cook County understand a little bit more about how intense and how important your program can be to a participant. So if you do have any questions, Carmen and Kelsey put their contact information in there, and while they were talking, I updated their information on the restricted resources page. So just to let everybody know, I'm going to pull this over and show you what we have. And I'm going to make my screen big again so that you can see actually what it is that I'm talking about. But on our restricted resources page, we have information about each of the CBOs that have provided information to us. We have a link to their website if they have one. We have a link to their brochure if they have provided it to us. And what I just did for National Able was I put their basic brochure, the IT Career Lab link, and the Suitability Checklist. And remember that the Suitability Checklist is for internal use only. It is not for you to share with the customers and let them take it away with them. So please keep that in-house if you do. So thank you very much, Carmen, and congratulations again on your recent nuptials.
Thank you. I'll send you pictures when I have them.
Yay. All right. Okay, so everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next Friday.